Hi guys, Justin here, and we're back with the Sea to Summit Etherlite XT sleeping pad. I've got the men's and the women's size large pads here, and I'm gonna do the big reveal. Which one am I gonna pick for the upcoming summer hiking season? Welcome back. So let's quickly run through the specs, similarities, and differences of these sleeping pads. I have the men's and women's size larges here. They're both 25 inches wide and 10 centimeters thick. That 10 centimeters of thickness comes from the air sprung technology, all these little dimples in here, and that also adds to the really high comfort level for these sleeping pads. They both have a 30D nylon top and a 40D nylon bottom for that extra durability. They both also use the Sea to Summit 2-valve system and the associated stuff sack / pump sack, which makes inflation a breeze. While they both are 25 inches thick, the women's thickness comes at the hips and middle, while the men's thickness starts at the shoulders and head. And Sea to Summit says that's due to just the shape and ergonomics of men and women. In addition to where the width is, there are also different lengths. The men's is 6.5 feet long, while the women's is 6 feet long. They also have different weights. The men's is 590 grams, while the women's is 550 grams, both coming in higher than what Sea to Summit advertises on their website. The women's is also warmer with a 4.2 R value, while the men's has a 3.8 R value. So before kind of committing to a decision on one of these sleeping pads, I wanted to see how they fit in the tent and how they feel in the tent. You can see just behind me that both sleeping pads don't fit well in this tent. So two 25-inch sleeping pads are really tight fit in the Marmot Tungsten Ultralight 2. The other fit factor is people have a lot of concerns about the stack height of this sleeping pad. So first things to look at are the feet. Not a big deal in this tent. The tent does have pre-bent poles that really make the walls go vertical quickly. So this is actually a pretty good tent for having a taller sleeping pad. But I have no issues on my feet here with the sleeping bag touching the edge of the tent. And then when I lay down, also no issues. Even with my hat isn't even touching the mesh of the tent. So I don't really anticipate that being a problem for me in this tent with this sleeping bag. The stack height isn't an issue. But I'm gonna take it over to my Lanshan 1-person tent. That tent has terribly angular sidewalls, and I'm anticipating that this sleeping pad may be a problem in that tent, if it even fits. We'll see. Here we are in a Lanshan 1-person tent. The sleeping pad actually fits inside here. I was surprised. I thought the size large men's wouldn't have made it in here. I don't have a perfect pitch either. Normally I would have a lot more guy lines coming out and maybe use some trees to pull the sides out, but let's lay down here and see how the sleeping pad, tent, sleeping bag all do with the space. So when laying down, the side of the mesh is a little bit close to my face, but not too bad, even on a pillow. It's definitely doable. At the one end, my feet are touching the mesh of the tent, and that's a little concerning. So now that we've gone through the specs, talked about the similarities and differences between the sleeping pads, how they fit in the tents, how that stack height affects them in the tents, the last thing I want to talk about is comfort. So I've spent several nights on each of these sleeping pads, sleeping on my floor in my condo, and have a pretty good idea of how each one sleeps and what their comfort level is. And there's one main difference between the two of them that pushed me towards one of the sleeping pads, and that's the width at the head of the sleeping pad. The men's has that extra width, and that for me made a pretty big difference when sleeping on the pad and added a little bit of comfort. I actually went into this thinking that the women's was gonna be what I was gonna go with, just due to that lower weight and higher R value. But that extra room at the head of the men's pushed me over, and that's the sleeping pad that I'm gonna be going with. Now that we're done with the big reveal, smash that like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you want to stay up to date on future videos. In the meantime, it's a nice spring day. I'm going to take a nap, and we'll see you later.